part of me hesitated before recording this. Some of what I hear in clinic isn't really meant to be broadcast, but it's been sitting with me all day, and ignoring it, it just feels dishonest. There was this woman earlier, mid-40s, married a long time, who came in alone and said she just needed to talk through something she couldn't quite say at home. It wasn't a crisis, no affair, no dramatic blow-up, just something that had shifted. Over the last couple of years, she said, her husband had become rougher, harder, faster. Not in a way she ever asked for, it had just sort of become his default setting. He just grabs me, turns me around in rushes, she said, like he's trying to get somewhere instead of being with me. And then she said something that landed heavily. I feel handled, not held. When a woman says that, she's describing something very specific. The physical intensity is there, the urgency is there, but the emotional signal is missing. The part that tells her she's cherished during something vulnerable, not just present for it. She told me she'd stopped looking forward to it, which is a quiet sentence, but it carries so much weight. And then, this is what really stayed with me, an hour later, another woman sits in the exact same chair and describes the total opposite problem. Different marriage, about 12 years. She almost felt guilty bringing it up, but she said everything had become so gentle, so careful, so measured, that she didn't recognize herself in it anymore. He asks before everything, she said. He checks in constantly. Sometimes I just want him to stop asking if it's okay and just take control. Just pull me in and not hesitate. Pin me down and not think about it first. She wasn't asking for violence. She was asking for want, the kind that doesn't feel rehearsed, the kind that doesn't pause to be polite. And that's when it clicked for me. They're describing the same erosion from opposite ends. One stopped feeling cherished. The other stopped feeling wanted. I noticed this in myself too. Not as a doctor, as a woman. There are moments when what I want is to feel completely held, slow, seen. When the point isn't urgency, but connection. When someone taking their time feels like a statement. You matter. And then there are other moments when I don't want careful. I want to feel chosen in a way that isn't managed, where someone pulls me closer without overthinking it, where there's a firmness to it, a kind of decisiveness. Both of those are real. One creates safety, the other creates desire. And if one disappears for too long, things just start to thin out. Actually, it's not even dramatic when it happens. That's the unsettling part. It just slowly becomes less charged, less alive. This connects to something I didn't expect though. I've been mentioning a nitric oxide powder to some male patients, mostly for circulation and performance stuff. Nothing extreme, just blood flow. A few of those men came back later and told me their wives had tried it too, almost as an afterthought. And the women said things felt more online, more responsive, more there. It makes sense when you think about it. Blood flow is blood flow. The body doesn't suddenly change its rules because you're female. I ended up trying it myself, mostly out of curiosity, and it's hard to describe without sounding dramatic. It just made me feel more present in my own skin. I'm not going to oversell that. It's not magic, but it was noticeable. If you're curious, the link's down below. That's all I'll say. But none of that replaces communication. The men who sustain something alive are the ones who can read that shift, or at least ask about it in a way that doesn't feel like an interrogation. I put together something for the men who tell me, I just don't know what to ask. I called it the Desire Playbook, which, yes, I realize sounds like a dramatic late-night title. I couldn't think of a better way to say, here are 20 questions that actually open this conversation up. It's free. I made it because I was tired of watching men leave my office, wanting to do better, but not knowing where to start. If that helps, it's there for you. I guess what I keep sitting with tonight is that the couples who stay alive aren't the ones who figured out some secret technique. They're the ones where both people still feel not just loved, felt, wanted, and safe in a ratio that keeps moving. I keep thinking about those two women, an hour apart, same chair, opposite complaints that came from the same quiet place. I haven't figured out how to say that to them yet. Maybe I won't. Maybe it's enough to just keep noticing it,